Right, you've seen those ridiculously cheap guitar kits plastered all over Amazon, like this one. Apparently, it's like $81. I mean, that's absolutely mental. That's seriously cheap. It just makes you wonder, is this guitar absolute junk? Or could there actually be a shred of value in this guitar? Today, we're finding out. We're going to tear into this super cheap Amazon budget guitar. And we're going to find out, is it usable? Do these pickups even sound good, let alone work? Is this a smart budget buy for everyone? Or money wasted down the drain? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Alright, so let's see what they actually give you in this kit guitar. Let's pop the box open and find out. First up, there's a gig bag in there, yep. Then you get a strap and a cable. There's a pick in here and a tremolo arm for the bridge, which we'll look at later. Now for the main event, the guitar itself. Here it is, the Glary lightning bolt strap 2 humbucker guitar from Amazon. Gotta admit, that lightning blue finish does actually look pretty cool. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Pantera and Dimebag, and I love Metallica, so for me, lightning bolts always are a win. And especially for this price point, it's definitely eye-catching, and it gives you a visual pop. First impression actually holding it? Well, it's super lightweight. I guess that's the Paulonia body, is that how you say it? Let's look closer, specs and build. We've got a maple neck, and then the wood on the back feels really dry. It's unfinished almost. Definitely needs some conditioning oil or maybe a very light sanding later on. Now, let's get to the bridge system. I don't understand why they do this with beginner guitars, but they always put floating tremolos in them. But if you're a beginner and you're getting a guitar like this, I'd probably steer clear of anything with a floating trem just for now. I mean, you usually just breathe on a whammy bar and the tuning goes completely out the window. It has budget tuners that feel pretty vague. The overall build, well, it's assembled, I guess. Looks a bit like a guitar. But based on the initial feel and seeing of that bridge, my expectations at the moment are pretty firmly low. So I can only go up from here, I guess. The most interesting thing on paper, those pickups. 2 passive humbuckers. That's actually kind of noteworthy. Okay, now let's hear how the pickups sound. I wanted to keep it in the same affordable spirit as this guitar. I'm not plugging into a £1,000 Mesa Boogie rig. Instead, everything is running through this little weapon. This is the DNAFX-GitCore by Harley Benton, and this thing is brilliant. Basically a full amp modeler with effects, IR loaders, cabs, you name it, it's got it. Comes built in with 200 presets, and I've tweaked some of them to make my very own for the clean, the crunch, the high gain, and the lead solos. It's super affordable, and it's incredibly versatile. Okay, so starting on the clean channel on that neck pickup, I'm going to use the preset 16, which is called Ballad. I've done a bit of tweaking to it to make it sound a bit more Metallica clean. Let's hear how it sounds. Using that neck pickup, just some light chorus, maybe some reverb and delay. Honestly, this was the first surprise. It's actually not unpleasant. It's got a decent warmth. It's fairly clear. Doesn't sound too thin or harsh like some cheap pickups usually do. And it works genuinely nicely for clean passages or just laying down a clean bed for some lead to play over the top. Now we're going to kick into some crunch and we're going to flick to the bridge pickup. It's got enough bite and thickness from the humbucker to handle basic rock and punk rhythms pretty well. It's not super defined. Maybe lacks a bit of complex character, but it sounds like a proper rock guitar tone, which is actually way more than I expected. Now we're pushing the gain even further, still on the bridge pickup for some high gain metal action. Now here's where you do feel the budget nature more. Handles the gain without completely falling apart into noise, which is good, but it lacks some of that tightness and aggressive punch you need for really modern percussive metal. Gets a little loose, maybe a bit fizzy compared to better pickups, and you can play heavy riffs, but don't expect razor sharp definition. Now we're going to flick back to the neck pickup for some epic lead lines. That pleasant warmth we heard on the cleans comes back nicely. It's smooth enough for basic solos, notes have some sustain, and it actually sings a bit better than it has any right to. For practicing scales, melodies, or simpler classic rock leads, surprisingly usable and enjoyable. Going back to the sound of the guitar, those pickups, as we heard, they're pretty good. Good enough, especially sound-wise for the price. But when you're playing, especially with higher gain, you definitely feel that they are weaker comparing to high output pickups, especially ones like EMGs or Fishmans. But again, EMGs and Fishmans are active pickups, which means they have a battery in them, which gives them a little bit more oomph. And a set of EMGs or Fishmans would cost you 4 times more than the cost of this entire guitar. So if you've got some lying around, chuck them in, but you can't expect too much for a guitar that's basically, $70, $80. Okay, so the pickup sounds surprisingly decent in some places, especially for that price. But I guess the sound is only half the battle, right? How does it feel to play in your hands? Let's have a dive into playability. First off, the overall feel. We mentioned earlier that it's super light, most likely because of that Paolonia body that would have never heard of before. But honestly, that's a big plus for comfort. Doesn't feel too heavy, doesn't feel like I'm throwing it around, and my back doesn't hurt when I play with it for too long. Also, the general strap type body is familiar and ergonomic, which is great. One of the weird things I did notice is the neck seems to be set in really high, and the neck itself comes away from the body higher than it would on a traditional guitar. I mean, look at this, and then look at how it compares to my Jackson Virtuoso. It's like night and day. But I haven't noticed any problems with the way it feels or how high the bridge is or the action or anything like that. So at the moment, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't think it needs any adjusting. Maybe it's just a one-off with mine, but if you do get yourself one, check that out as well. The fret ends are actually pretty good for a guitar this price. I've had guitars that are 3-4 times more expensive that are way worse. There are some rough edges on this side, on the high E side. They feel a bit scratchy when you slide your hand down. Pretty typical for guitars at this rock bottom price point, but I guess it's something that definitely impacts smooth playing feel. Then you got that bridge I mentioned earlier, the 6-screw tremolo system. Weirdly, it holds its tune surprisingly well with that bar. Actually seems to go out of tune when I bend and play quite vigorously, which is really odd. Also, I think as a cosmetic thing, the white tip on the end of the bar is a bit odd for a guitar that kind of screams metal, and it's got lightning bolts and it makes you think of Dimebag Darrell or Metallica. I reckon it would have been better with just a silver bar with just nothing on the end, or maybe even a black tip. I don't know. It just screams Strat to me, and this guitar is trying to scream metal. So summing up the playability out of the box, it's a bit of a mixed bag really. It heavily leans towards needs work, but again, for the price point, I'm actually pleasantly surprised in some areas. I do genuinely believe that when I put some time and effort into this guitar setting it up, it will make it play so much better than it does right now. At its core, it's surprisingly okay. It just needs that refined touch to unlock its true potential. Alright, so final verdict on this budget guitar from Amazon. Is it landfill fodder? Is it a hidden gem? Honestly, it's somewhere in between the two. And I'm actually disappointed at how much I really liked it. I was expecting to absolutely rip into this guitar, and then once I actually plugged it in, I was really surprised. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's much better than I thought it was going to be. And it sounded really good through the Harley Benton DNAFX pedal, which is also super cheap and affordable at $81. But if you're looking for a guitar that's going to stand the test of time, 30, 40, 60 days out on tour, out of the box, probably not going to do that. Gig ready, it might just be live stream ready, not gig ready. You've seen the B-roll. It kind of feels like it's built by someone who doesn't know how to play a guitar, let alone build one. Feels a bit like I built it myself, if I'm honest. But I mean, if you've only got $80 to spend on a guitar, get this one. If you've got more, then buy something else. I'm actually really excited to see how it's going to play once I do a setup and give it a once over, take the strings off, put on new ones, give that fretboard some TLC, adjust the truss rod, that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure it will actually be semi-playable by that point. So I would say, if you've got $165 to spend on a guitar and a pedal, then you're going to be pleasantly surprised by these two. If you want to find out more, click the link in the description below.